Record this, everybody. Thank you for being here. So my name is Sarah Brillo, and this is the Transparent Advisor Movement Meetup for May 2025. To enable captioning, if you are hard of hearing, please go ahead and just click the CC at the bottom of the screen. Hi, Mike, thanks for being here. Mike's on. Okay, so if anybody requires any other accommodations, let me know, like language translation, if anybody's like deaf, hard of hearing, visual impairments, autism can sometimes have different requirements for not using flash imagery, etc. Please let me know in the chat. And I'm just gonna get started on the announcements. Woohoo! This is a recorded meeting. There's no AI allowed on this meeting. If you got in using AI, we're gonna take the AI off, okay? And that's just per the request of the people in this movement. The June meetup will be, the guest is Cody Garrett, and Cody is a advice-only planner. A lot of you know Cody, but if you'd like to sign up for the June meetup, please go ahead and click the link that I just put into the chat. There's a call for mentors. There's a certain person, a younger advisor that's looking for somebody to mentor her. So if you're interested, please go ahead and just send me a note in the chat. And I would be very happy to send you over to her. This is, of course, like not anything that we pay for, that you wouldn't be paid to be a mentor. It's just like a philanthropic action to encourage transparency. Woohoo! Okay, so everybody, I just launched a new website for the immersion, and it has reviews on it. It has more information. Immersion 2026 is in Kansas City. And if you went to Immersion 2025, if you could just post a comment in the chat encouraging others to go to it, or maybe if you thought it stunk, you could say that too, but just post like what your impression was of Immersion 2025, because that would help people know. But Immersion 2025 is basically our in-person conference meetup. I hate the word, excuse me, I don't hate anything, please forgive me, Lord. It's our in-person meetup, and the great thing about it, no vendors, no sleazy product pitches, just immersing, just focused on interacting and sharing thoughts and creating partnerships and sharing the good knowledge that all of you are gathering as a result of being flat fee advice only or hourly. We even have folks that aren't subscribing to any of these business models, but are thinking of doing it in the future. And it's awesome. It's awesome for them because it's inspiring and they can learn from people who are already thinking about what they're thinking of doing. So now I also want to just let you know, and I'm putting this into the chat as well, that I launched, this was per the request of people in this movement, I launched marketing support services. And there's one for each type of advisor. So there's hourly marketing, there's advice-only marketing, and there's also a flat fee advisor marketing program. Now, if you need marketing help, I don't want the prices to be an issue, okay? That I'm going with $50 a month is the lowest priced package on that website. But if anybody is not able to afford $50 a month, please don't let cost be the issue. Send me a text right now, 917-873-9297. Here, I'm gonna say that again. Send me the text, 917-873-9297 is my cell phone if you wanna talk with me about being part of these services. If you don't have the money to pay $50 a month, it's okay. I believe in the goodness of this movement. I'm willing to lay my life down for Christ, okay? I believe that I've been called to do this. And so if I have to pony up the $50 a month so that you can be on my program for a few months for free, I'm happy to do that. It is my honor and my privilege and a blessing for me to stand behind you. I cannot say this more clearly, and I'm directly looking at you as I'm saying this. It would be my honor to stand behind you. That is all that I'm asking you. That if you are desiring to grow your business, scale, get new clients, it is my honor to be the person to help you facilitate that, because I believe in clean, transparent, honest business people in this industry. And I'm committed to getting there. And I don't want to let anything get in the way. Please allow me to stand behind you. If there's something about my program you don't like or the cost or whatever, then talk to me about it. But I want to be the one supporting you. And I'd be honored and privileged if you would humbly consider my request. More announcements. Josh of Soft Clay, are you here?
I am. Hello, hello.
Hi, can you go on video, please?
Uh, Video's on. Can y'all
I'm
not see
sorry.
me?
I don't see you. That's pretty
Am I
weird.
lost in the grid here?
Oh, okay. Here. Oh, there you are. Haha. So now people
Oh,
can everybody see Josh? Is it because I'm spotlighted? Oh, I think I have to stop. I have to remove my spotlight. There you go. Now you're
there we
spotlighted.
go. Haha. Oh, all right.
Josh,
Cool.
okay, so Josh is one of our kind of product alliances in flat fee advisor marketing, but also applies to advice only marketing and hourly marketing. Josh, just real quick, like 2 sentences about what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I am a freelance web developer specializing in low maintenance, high performing websites. That's the simplest way I can describe it.
Okay, so he's familiar with how flat fee advisors work, advice only and hourly. He's been to our marketing meetups before. All right. So Josh is someone that works closely with me and a lot of the advisors in this movement to make websites so that we can take over the internet. I am not taking it anymore. I'm unwilling to let Edward Jones, Merrill Lynch, AXA Advisors, Fidelity, Vanguard. I'm Edelman. Okay, Edelman is like hawking our keywords. Okay, like I'm sorry, Edelman, for Edelman getting found for flat fee advisor when they're not flat fee advisor. Sorry, Edelman. Okay. Whoops, did I say that on whoops? Is this recorded anyways? Okay. So what I'm saying is I really would like to help us take over the internet. I'm not taking any prisoners here. Josh is well versed in SEO strategies. I want everybody to be found for flat fee advisor in so-and-so location, fee only advisor in so-and-so location. The nimbleness and flexibility of these kinds of models is a distinct advantage versus the bigger competition. If you're not using it, then you're missing out on the opportunity and you're doing yourself a competitive disadvantage. I'm not taking it anymore, okay? I'm taking a stand here that I'm gonna take over the internet. Josh is helping, but I can't help you unless you participate somehow in the marketing services that I'm offering. Like I said, cost will not be the issue if you want to participate. Here's email I'm putting into the chat. It's Katie Balberchek's email. Katie is somebody that I've hired to help us with this movement. And Katie is wonderful, by the way. Katie, just want to say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. So there's Katie, and please email her if you have any feedback. Okay, if you think like the movement's good, the movement's bad, you like think I stink, I'm good, I'm bad, whatever. Products that you want to see, services, whatever it is. Okay. We've got so much going on. This is a very dynamic time. I'm establishing a stronghold for the information, a central website for the transparency movement that will house information about advice only, hourly, and transparent advisors. It's going to be, the website's going to be launched sometime over the next month or so. It will have directories on there. Okay, that's where I'm going to centralize all the directories because right now there's a million fragmented directories. I'm going to try to unify all the information somehow. To be on my directories, by the way, starting in June, you have to have your prices on your website. I'm the transparency movement evangelist, and I feel that it's hypocritical if I'm out there banging the transparency drum, but yet I have these directories of people where I'm like, he's a flat fee advisor, he's transparent, and then the dude doesn't even have his prices on his website, okay? I'm kicking your butts off starting in June if you don't have prices on your website. Sorry, I, with my heart, love all of you, okay, in a business sense, all right? But I really don't feel that we can call ourselves transparent if we're not clearly stating what our fees are on the website. I also know somebody who's trying to establish a flat fee succession matching service. So helping to match people who are looking to sell businesses in flat fee hourly advice only with people looking to buy. Send me again, text message 917-873-9297, or you can email me, get in touch with me on LinkedIn, whatever, if you're looking to buy or sell a business of this type. I'm also, and this is also going to be a summer thing, I'm going to be establishing a paraprofessional matching service where we match up talent with people that need a para, but just not on a full-time basis. So if you can't hire somebody for like a whole week or whole, like, if you don't need somebody for 5 days a week, I'm going to get 4 other advisors and each of you are going to have the para for 1 day out of the week. Okay, something like that. I don't know, it's kind of in flux, but all these things are things that I'm doing. And no, I don't sleep a lot, which brings me back to the point that if you want to text me and talk to me about your business, I will talk to you about your business for free. If you need advice, just text me. I'm up at 5 in the morning. I sent you the cell phone. It's in the chat. And wouldn't that be cool if we could talk about business at 5 o'clock in the morning before my kids even get up? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. There's Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn every Wednesday, except for these Wednesdays, when we have our meetups. But every Wednesday at 1 p.m., we have a little bit of a chat around on LinkedIn where we go and we encourage the visibility of each other's postings by commenting on it for reach. Okay, I can explain a little bit more about how that works, but it's every Wednesday at 1 p.m. This is how one part of my plan to have us take over the internet. If you would like to participate, just send me a note over LinkedIn or however you would like to get in touch with me. I'm flexible on that. Now, I'm moving to questions about anything that I just said. Let me know. I'm going to pause for a minute for questions. I'm so excited so many people are here. Katie, can you just let me know if a question comes in on the chat? Because I don't want to have to look at the chat, okay?
Hey Sarah, this is Joe. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks be to God.
Oh, very good. Yeah, this is my first time here. I have no questions. I wanted to say I'm just so moved by the enthusiasm and the principles here, and I'm so looking forward to learning more and getting involved.
Amen. That's great. Joe, you should join our transparency LinkedIn chat group. That's the one that does the Wednesday at 1 p.m. Commenting for reach, Joe. So just send me a note and you can meet everybody. We'll take very good care of you. We take very good care of each other here, amen, because we have to, because let's face it, folks, taking the high road is never an easy thing. Is it?
Indeed.
No, but that's why we have each other. So we're going to take good care of each other, and it's already great, but it's going to be even greater. Amen. I appreciate you too, Avanti. Thanks, girlfriend. All right. Please just come to my immersion. You know what I'm saying? It like means so much to me when I like when I see the people, like everybody, the first day when I saw everybody, I couldn't even believe it. There were 55 people at the last immersion. People say, oh, it's not 500, like it's not XYPN. Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, on purpose. Because I don't want like the insurance, oopsies. Sorry. I mean, we have some insurance agents that come and I love them. Our insurance agents that come to immersion, are you here? Anyways, but I don't want people that don't really believe are going to be problems in the immersion. So we just have like the people that count that come there. It's awesome. Sorry, that's so biased of me. How conceited is that? Sorry, everybody. Okay. Next, Mike, go ahead and take the spotlight, senor.
Okay.
Mike Sung is going to be our speaker today.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike Sung is a flat fee advisor, and I believe he's from Kansas City. Is that where you live?
Yeah. I'm in the Kansas City area. Lee
Okay.
Summit for anybody that's familiar with the metro area.
Can I just put your website into the chat, Mike? What is it?
Yeah, sure. It's javawealth.com.
Okay. javawealth.com, and Mike's a flat fee advisor. What would you say has been, what can you just kind of talk about your practice just for a minute?
Yeah, sure. So the quick high level version of the practice. So yeah, I launched in 2018 part-time while I was still working full-time in tech. So I'm a career changer. And then at the very beginning of 2020 is whenever I left that job and went full-time. And so yeah, like if you hit the website, then you see that I specialize in equity compensation and tech employees and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm primarily solo. I actually do have I registered another advisor a little bit ago on a contract basis, and so that's a fairly recent thing. But yeah, and then the practice right now, there's I primarily do ongoing clients. I do a small amount of project work, just primarily because of the new advisor that came on to give him some reps. Um, so yeah, but it's primarily ongoing clients. Have 34 ongoing clients right now. Um, I do manage investments as well as just part of the one flat fee, but it's not a requirement or anything like that. Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the quick high level of it.
Group, what questions do you have for Mike? Thank you so much, Mike, for
Sure.
being here. Group, what questions do you have for Mike? Just based on what he said.
Hey, Mike, my name is Joe. Thanks so much for speaking and for being here. You
Yeah,
mentioned
sure.
bringing you brought on a new advisor, you registered. I'm so curious, like how much time passed between you thinking, hey, I might need a new advisor to you hiring that person, and like what was that thought? How did you evaluate it? What was that thought process like?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's probably not as thoughtful as otherwise. Yeah, so primarily it's someone who has like I mean I've known him. It's someone who's worked at the church that I go to since he was 18 and he's in his mid 40s now. And he was thinking about doing a career change as well. And so he and I had been talking for a while, and just to try to help him get some experience, is like, hey, you can help me out just from kind of more like admin type work. But then he also had gone through the process of passing the Series 65. And then he also recently sat for the CFP and passed that as well. And it was as much of a thing where he had passed the Series 65, and then his 2 years was coming up to where he would either have to be registered or take the test again. And so that was a little bit of a forcing mechanism for me to just be like, you know what, I'll register you and let's kind of take the next step. Because and I've kind of been thinking about not necessarily like bringing on a partner or anything like that, but I have thought about, in a way of kind of trying to, help the industry and give back and everything, of setting up maybe something kind of like a residency type program or something like that, right? Where it's like, kind of get your reps, get some experience, and then kind of move on to whatever your next thing is, right? So yeah, so that was primarily the impetus for actually taking that step. So sometimes things just happen kind of accidentally, and we just kind of see how it goes. But as long as we're still oriented in the way, in the general direction of what we're trying to do. So,
Cool. Thank you.
yep.
How do you get clients from Mike Hart?
What's that?
How did you get clients? A question on the chat from Mike Hart.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, a little bit of everything, as far as, just kind of the first was just a natural network. So from coming from tech, then, there's kind of a subset of the clients that I have right now that are people that I used to work with, right? It's because they kind of fit in that niche. And so there's that. As far as the first, some of the most effective from a cold lead. One was YouTube. I started doing YouTube videos in 2020 or so. And so like I've done a handful of YouTube videos and was doing like live streams and things like that. And I was able to get most of, like, that was good to get like true niche clients, right? Where, I'm talking about RSUs and talking about stock options and AMT and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, so I've gotten a decent amount from a YouTube perspective, which and kind of, and I can go into however much detail as we'd want with that. But it definitely is a long tail for that marketing, right? I was doing videos for about a year before anybody reached out, and whenever they did, I thought it was a joke. So, um, yeah, so that, and then actually something that is the more I was looking at my metrics and things like that kind of jumped out is referrals from other advisors, right? So kind of in doing a lot of networking type stuff like this, and like and letting other advisors know what I do and how I do it, that I actually would get a lot of referrals from other advisors that either are in a different niche and it's not a right fit, or they're in the same niche but they're further ahead of where I was. And so like their minimums were, they had a $12,000 minimum, and I'm starting out and I take somebody for $1,800, right? And so yeah, like there was a decent amount and still is a decent amount of referrals that I get from other advisors too. So those are the main channels. Like I've never really tried to do like LinkedIn in earnest, or just some of the other channels too much. So yeah, that's the primary way that I've been getting clients.
Mike, I love that you were committed to YouTube.
Yeah.
I love that you didn't stop after 3 months and be like, hey, I'm not getting any leads. Man, why don't I have $5 million a year now coming in? And man. I love it, Mike. I really love it. I love that you persisted and you saw the fruits of your labor, because remember, folks, YouTube is a Google product.
Mhm.
It is a Google product.
Yeah, yeah, and I've done talks about I've done a couple talks about the YouTube stuff too, and one of the main things that I stress is that if you make evergreen content and can get some amount of traction on it, then it'll just keep working for you, right? So there's still this RSU video. I mean, it's like a little over 100,000 views or something like that, and like it still gets as many views now as it did whenever I posted it in 2020, right? Um, yeah, and then also not to get caught up in the vanity metrics of it right after I say, oh, I got this many views on a video. But like one of my favorite clients came from a live stream that I did that I think has maybe like 100 views on it or something like that, right? But what I was saying apparently just resonated with her specifically. So yeah, so I mean it's kind of like, yeah, not with any stuff, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn posts or anything, where it's like not getting too caught up in the vanity metrics of it, because as long as you're saying something that's going to resonate with somebody, then like that's the main thing that matters.
Okay, so for those of you that want to do well on YouTube or on Google, if you're targeting corporate employees, you should know this, that company name RSUs, company name 401k, company name ESPP, company name average salary, Amazon average salary, Microsoft RSUs, whatever company it is, that content will optimize on Google. Okay. I mean, I'm giving you free SEO advice here. There's a Uber Suggest has free keyword research. Neil Patel, Uber Suggest. Okay. But see, it wasn't just that he was persistent and he had great content. It was that he treated Google like a client and gave Google what it wanted, meaning he clearly gave a signal to Google. This is because I bet you had whatever tech company like Netflix RSUs or whatever in the title of your YouTube video. You use that keyword. He made it easy. Remember, Google looks at us like we look at like the Milky Way galaxy, okay? Distant, far away, can't tell one star from another. That's what Google sees when Google sees us. But he was clear. He made it clear to Google how to categorize him, okay? And that's one of the key components probably of his success. Holy smoky bokey, folks. The chat is exploding. Mike Zung, you are a celebrity status.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, next question.
No.
I'm so sorry, folks. If you put a question into the queue, thank you. Please be patient here because, like I said, volcanic eruption in the chat. Could you expand on the new advisor structure as a contractor basis, perhaps revenue sharing or 1099 hourly examples? What compliance issues?
Yep. Yeah. So the way that, I mean, right now it's primarily set up hourly, but with kind of with saying that, I started doing project work. Basically, it's hourly for ongoing clients, but with project clients, then basically we'll just, depending on how much of the work that he's picking up, then he'll just get a flat percentage of the revenue of those projects. right? And so we just kind of set a range, and so whenever as we're doing it, if there's a project where it's like, hey, you can just go ahead and take this one, then that gets a certain percentage. But if it's one where there's a lot of equity comp stuff that I'm still doing, then we just kind of adjust it like that. So that's currently the way that we're doing it. As far as compliance issues, I actually just recently started to work with a compliance consultant, to just review everything. And so I'll keep you posted if there are any compliance issues. So far nothing. But I mean, I haven't had an audit since he came on. So.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Next
Mhm.
question. When and where in your pitch do you get into flat fee advice, and what wording do you use?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's funny, so Sarah, what you were just saying is like have your fees clearly stated on your website. And I do, up to a point. I guess if you've hit it on the services page, services and pricing, there's a calculator on the bottom there. Um, but what's interesting is whenever people talk, when people have to go through my website in order to book meetings and everything. And then whenever I talk, I would still say, maybe not quite half of them, but a lot of people, that it's like they ask, how the pricing structure is, and it's like, I'm like, have you looked at the website? It's like, oh no, I didn't really see that part. So it's funny how much work we put on our websites and how little people actually read them. Um, but yeah, I mean, usually it's I mean, just kind of towards the end of, the first intro meeting is just chatting through what's going on in their world. And then, invariably the question is like, hey, if we were to work together, what would it look like? Right. And that's whenever kind of first walk through the actual, first steps of onboarding and all that kind of stuff. So in order for people to book a meeting, then they answer in the intake questionnaire. They answer just very high level of like, hey, what's kind of like your overall investments, right? And it's just a range of like zero under 500,000, 500,000 to a million, 1 to 2 million, just very high level stuff. And so, but that's all the information that I need from a fee perspective. And I just say it's based on everything that you said in here, then this is what the flat quarterly fee would be. And then that's kind of it. So like, and that was something that before I used to do a calculation, like a net worth income type calculation, but I struggled with that because I felt like I needed to collect a whole bunch of information from somebody before I could actually give a straight answer. And so in that first meeting, I felt like I was kind of hemming and hawing a lot over, like, they say what the fee is, like, oh, well, it kind of depends on blah, blah, blah. Right. And so I figured this other one out, and just be like, okay, this is what it is. So if they ask the question, then I actually just share my screen, show the website, and we put it in. It's like, you said this and this and this, and so this is generally what the fee would be, right? So yeah. And then I'm also terrible at sales and marketing. So like, as far as the when in the pitch do I do it? It's just like, I don't know. It's what I'm kind of spitballing it half the time. So
Could you talk about the reception from new clients when you went completely flat fee?
um I mean, it was fine. Really, I've never been AUM, so I've never had to like switch from that. So it's always been some kind of flat fee. And kind of like I was saying, it used to just be a little bit more of a convoluted calculation that I would do. But still, whenever I would present it to them, and the contract and everything, it says your fee is this dollar amount per quarter, right? Billed in arrears. And so that's essentially it. So I never really had that transition, um, from, yeah, like, of going to flat fee, because I always was.
If you have a high income tech employee with RSU and other stock options, but they are just starting to save money, maybe have
Right.
$300,000 total liquid assets, Do you take them on? Do you still bill them 9,000 for under 1 mil?
Right. Yes. And that's actually one thing that has been, I mean, I guess I still struggle with it sometimes because people will, I'll get a prospective client in and like from my perspective, I think it's like, yeah, I'm not sure if it's necessarily going to make sense for them, right? Um, but I've learned to not put my own value, my definition of value onto them, right? Because I have a number of clients. I mean, I will say the $9,000 minimum is more recent, has been just like within the last year or so. But even still, just like one of my new clients from this year is, I mean, they are kind of pretty similar to what is said here, where they work at Google, they have RSUs, their income isn't crazy or anything like that. Um, Relatively speaking, we're all like my wife's in education, so this is all very relative of like not high income. So yeah, that and at first I was just like, I'm not sure if it would make sense, but for her, she's just like, I need this help, and I am willing to I'm willing to pay this, right? And so from my perspective, part of the whole transparency part, where it's like I'm not keeping any secret, I'm not like pulling the wool in any way, like she knows what check she's cutting, right? And if she feels that that's what she needs and feels the value in it, then I'm not going to say like, no, I don't think you should do this, right? Um, so yeah, so I guess that's what helps me, still sleep at night and feel fine because like there's no bait and switch whatsoever, right? And so yeah, so I have a handful of clients where, yeah, their net worth is $100,000 or, you know, 200,000, something like that. And, they're totally fine and happy with, um, yeah, still paying the fee out of cash flow.
Mike, is that an annual fee for that client, that $100,000 client? Is it 9,000 a year ongoing?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And yeah, so it's, I guess first, just the straight answer is yes. Yeah, that it's, and I just bill quarterly. And so that's what that is. And I do say for some people where it's just like, hey, if we work together for a year and then you feel like you're all good with everything and you're ready to be done, then like that's completely fine too. So there is a part of me, because like the one that I'm thinking of, she signed in January, right? And I would not be surprised if come next January she's like, okay, you've helped me out a lot. No thanks. So and I've learned to hold clients with an open hand. So not to feel like, yeah, too bent out of shape from if people leave, right?
So if she was having you manage her 100,000, would it still be 9,000 a year fee?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I still like I said in my contract, it is just like your fee is this dollar amount per quarter, right? And it's just kind of on an ongoing basis. And so what I do from a billing perspective is I still try to, I won't bill managed assets if it's like would be considered an exorbitant fee for managing assets, right? So basically, like I try to keep it below like 1.5%. If like so if she had $1 million, right, then it's like, okay, I could, we could, if she wants to, could say like, hey, do we want to bill managed assets for this, right? And so I just basically kind of keep that try to keep all that straight of like, hey, if you only have $100,000, then like it's just going to be this. But if you get up to like $500,000, then maybe we bill half of it, and then we bill the other half through AdvicePay. AdvicePay is the invoicing platform that I use.
So the fee would stay the same in that example. It's just whether you deduct the fee from the account or have her pay it directly.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So it definitely makes it like the flat fee stuff definitely makes it easy from uh an annual projection perspective and a cash flow perspective, that it's like this is the number of clients I have, this is what their flat fee is, this is what my projected annual revenue is, and then if, new clients and clients leaving and stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, there's no, I don't, I just try to keep it really easy as far as like how the fee or yeah, just like what the fee is, right? There's not a lot of changes to it.
Next
Hey, Mike, this is
question.
Stephen Fox. Thanks for joining us today. I like the annual planning calendar you have on your website. Could you go a little bit into how you're operating that and how it's going for you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so it's a version of Surge meetings, right? I'm sure most people have heard the term. Um, but yeah, so basically, whenever a client first comes on, then I do go through kind of that initial plan process. So it's like 4 or 5 meetings, something like that, right? And then once we get through that, then it's like, okay, now we've gone through the initial plan. You kind of drop into the annual planning calendar, right? And so the way that I have it is, so the way that I say it is like, I'll proactively reach out to you 3 times a year, right? And, at the beginning of the year, I'll just send out a mass email to all clients and just say like, hey, it's the beginning of the year. This is generally what we would talk about, but of course you can add any other topics that you want to chat through, right? And so in that email, I actually set up a separate Calendly event for each of those 3 meetings, right? And so like I'll look at my own calendar, because I do in those time frames I do also offer some evenings. And so depending on what's going on in my life, it's like, okay, in this 5-week period, Tuesdays and Thursday evenings work for me, right? And so I'll kind of create that event that has that. And then so basically I send it out to everybody and it's like, hey, everybody start booking grab your time. And so I get everybody to grab times. I'll keep track of who hasn't, and I'll send a reminder email a couple weeks later to say like, hey, you still haven't. If you want to, then this is, then yeah, book the time. Um, but then yeah, and it helps give everybody a rhythm of, okay, beginning of the year, this is generally what we do, and kind of getting into the benefits of Surge as you kind of get into this mindset of, okay, I'm just kind of cranking through this pretty similar rhythm with everybody in getting ready for these meetings. So I'm actually in the middle of my spring one right now. Where we're reviewing tax returns, looking at investments, and then if people want to look at so I use Right Capital, like looking at retirement projections and all that kind of stuff, then we're looking through some of that stuff, right? So yeah, so basically I have the so it's generally about a 5-week window that I open up. And yeah, do the beginning of the year, I call it a spring check-in, because even especially whenever they become ongoing clients, even 3 meetings for some people, they're just like, that's fine, I don't need to. And I don't force people to like, you need to schedule all 3 of these meetings, right? So some people, I'll meet with them twice instead, right? So yeah, so we have the spring one, and then have kind of the end of the year one that's around open enrollment time and end of the year tax planning and all that kind of stuff.
Describe your average client.
Yeah, so the average client are in their 30s, like 30s, maybe 40s. At least one of them in tech. And so whether that's at a big tech where they have RSUs, or the more honestly, the more fun ones for me are people that still have stock options. And so some of them are either still at private companies that that do somewhat regular tender offers. So SpaceX is one where I have a handful of clients, and they essentially do tender offers every 6, 7 months or so. Um, and those are a lot of fun. I like those a lot. And then or I have some people at Stripe. So it's usually, yeah, people kind of in that age range, fairly high income, and then have equity compensation to go along with it. And then wanting to go through they're kind of in that life stage where they're either having like starting to have kids or buying their first houses, or for the people that are fortunate enough to have like pretty substantial liquidity events, or just have like there's a couple where they both worked at Google and had been holding their RSUs for the last 10 years, and it amassed up to, $3-4 million worth of it, and it was kind of helping them navigate the kind of getting out of that concentrated position. And now they both actually one of them quit last year to take a sabbatical, and the other one is quitting in 11 days. And then they're going to take and getting severance for it. And they're taking a like 6 to 9 month sabbatical where they're going to live overseas for a lot of the time. Right. And so it's kind of a lot of, yeah, so it's being able to help people with some kind of, I don't know, kind of crazy stuff. I live vicariously through them sometimes, right? Um, so yeah, that's the primary one. I have a handful of clients that are kind of more that classic pre-retiree, but that's more just from natural network people that I go to church with and things like that, that aren't technically that aren't in the niche. Um, and so yeah, so I'm not 100% like that, but for the most part, if they're not, I try to be as disciplined as I can to not take people that are outside of the primary niche, right?
Describe the kinds of clients you turn away because they are not a good fit for your service.
Um, uh, if someone's like primarily just or not just, but if they're small business owners, I'm not necessarily the best. Although that's, as I say that, I have some people where it's like one spouse is in tech and then the other one's a small business owner, right? So you kind of have to learn that some of that by proxy. Um, I don't I mean, people that are primarily talking about like, hey, I want help with my investments and I want this to grow and beat the market and that kind of stuff. I had an intro call last week where it was a woman, it was a woman who was retired. Her husband is also retired. They keep their finances separate, and she just wanted help with like $1 million portfolio to grow well for the next 10 years. And like her husband wasn't involved, right? They kept things completely separate. And I'm just like, I can't, like, I don't feel like any advisor could truly be able to help you if the two of you aren't both um willing to be a part of it. So I guess kind of and to expand on that part, one thing that I am trying to be
Thank you.
pretty hard-nosed
Thank you.
about is working with people where both are maybe not necessarily like in every meeting, but both are bought in. Because I've had experiences where it's usually the husband that kind of keeps the wife somewhat at arm's length and be like, oh no, she doesn't care about it. Like let's talk shop and try to optimize stuff. And I'm just like, I don't like I'm not down with that. So in my intake form, I actually added something that says if you're married, then they have to check a box that says we acknowledge that we're equal partners and that we're both going to be involved and we're both going to be at this intro meeting. So, so yeah, so I try to, that's one thing that's kind of, as I've progressed, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to not want to deal with this kind of stuff anymore.
Next question. For your flat fee, you have 9,000 a year for under 2 million, 15,000 a year for 2 to 4 million. How do you deal with clients who are hovering up and down close to the $2 million level? It
Right.
would be annoying to deal with changing fees annually just because assets are shifting.
Yep. Yeah. So I actually don't change their fees very aggressively, right? Basically, whenever someone signs on, then that's what their fee is going to be for usually the next 2 years, at least 1 year, because the contract actually says a year, that this is the fee for at least 12 months, right? And then so I'll usually just at a certain time of year for everybody that's been on one particular fee for a couple years, then like I'll revisit it and basically just kind of in that same surge type mentality of saying like, okay, these people, like we're going to go do a fee adjustment for everybody here, right? And then just shoot that out to everybody to be like, hey, we've been working together for since then. Your fee since this time has been this, and based on your situation, now it's going to be this, and this is what and then if basically kind of have that the positive mindset of like I'll send the new agreement out, and then we just keep going, right? And I've only done that once or twice. um I'm kind of due to do that right now, but I'm dragging my feet a little bit. um but then and so that's primarily because most people like if we're doing a good job, then their assets are going up, right? There have been a couple times where there's one person that I can think of specifically where whenever we started working together, he had stock options and his company was like doing really well, and then the company stock crashed and his options went from like $4 or $5 million to 1 million, right? And so like whenever that happened, then I actually did just be like, hey, based on everything going on, we're adjusting your contract now. And so we adjusted it down, right? And so that one's definitely an easier conversation. So yeah, so like we don't really kind of in answering the question, like I'm not super aggressive of saying like, oh, you went over $2 million, I'm going to change your fee right now, right? And usually if they're on the border, then I just go lower because I'm a wimp. So
Can you expand on your pricing? Looked at your website. Is everyone 9,000 a year or just new clients? Also, how many of your ongoing clients use your portfolio management?
right. So yeah, it is just new clients because like I said, I just went to 9,000 fairly recently. I mean, within the last year or so. And I would say probably the people that signed on the first 4 years, they're still below that. Like my average right now is probably around 6, right? As kind of the flat fee, right? Um, so yeah, so that's and so kind of to what I was just saying as far as like trying to make those adjustments that like the people that have been there for a while, like I won't be like, oh hey, you used to be at 4,800 and now it's 9,000, right? I'm not going to punch them in the face like that. But like I'll increment it up some, right? And then as far as the question about how many use investment management, most of them do now. That's as much, I kind of feel like that's as much of just attrition where because if I'm not managing assets, then it is much easier for people to leave. I guess that's, as far as just the full transparency of doing this flat fee and I don't well, since I do manage investments, I'm not technically advice only, right? But yeah, so it's like it's the turnover in this model is definitely more than what you hear from like an industry average perspective, right? Just because it's like, hey, I'm paying out of cash flow and I'm trying to save money, so I'm gonna reach out to Mike and say like, hey, I'd like to stop, right? So, but I mean, as far as now, I would say it's probably about 80% of them. I'm managing some amount of money for them, but not necessarily all of it.
Okay, everybody, just give an update. I actually have 3 more pages of questions. That is how vibrant this chat is. Okay, so I'm so sorry if you've been waiting in the queue. Thank you for your patience. We have 10 more minutes left until the hour, but I do think this meetup is going to run over. Please stay on if you can. If you cannot stay on and you posed a question to me in the chat, please send me a message right now on the chat and tell me that so I can give it to Mike before you leave. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. And again, I apologize, but what can I say? The transparency movement is taking over the world. Okay, next question. What about the tech you use for financial planning? You have this thing, Money Cafe analysis on your site that looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess first the regular tech that I use. So I mean, I'm an XYPN member, so I use a lot of their stuff, right? I use Wealthbox, I use Right Capital, stuff like that, right? I use JotForm for intake stuff. The Money Cafe thing is somewhat of like, so I mean, I guess just to toot my own horn a little bit, right? Where so I've always kind of prided myself on some extra um, personalization, right? And so I actually had originally been doing Google Slides, like just creating a customized financial plan template, and I'm not just trying to sell stuff. If you go to Beautiful Financial Plan, I presented it at a Kitsus Value Summit in 2021, and after that, a whole bunch of people be like, "Can I buy your template?" And so like that, there's that version of it. And then more recently, a couple years ago, someone introduced me to Google Sites, which is similar to Google Slides, but it's actually building websites. And so that's actually what I do with every ongoing client, where I put some amount of their stuff, like their main client portal is a Google site. So that Money Cafe is just the way that I branded it. So Java Wealth Money Cafe. So I'm just leaning into the coffee side, right? Um, and so yeah, and I've loved it. I mean, it keeps me straight as much as anything else, right? And so yeah, so it's a website and it's shared specifically with the clients with their Google accounts. So that's the security part of it, where it's like it's the same level of security as what an email would be, right? Since it's what they're tied to their Google accounts. And it's really nice being able to like add in different widgets, like for, you can put in a Calendly widget, and then you can also import in charts that are in Google Sheets. And so like and specifically with the equity comp stuff, there's a lot of like none of the software out there right now. There's some that are coming up that are pretty cool, but like Right Capital's terrible at equity compensation, and so I do a lot of my equity comp planning through spreadsheets that I've built, right? And so like creating the visuals for it and I'm able to kind of feed that into that Google Site stuff to be able to give like real-time views of this is what your options are looking like, this is what your RSUs look like. And then more recently, I've started to add like Zapier stuff to where I can send an email out to clients whenever the RSUs vest to give them a breakdown of it, right? It's like, hey, you have RSUs vesting today. This is what the gross amount is. This is the number of RSUs vesting. This is how much is going to get withheld for taxes. And then here's what the take home is and what we plan on doing with it, right? So like really trying to, lean into what I say on the front of my website to say like, what will your equity compensation become? So to be able to connect those dots of you have this stuff and this is what we're going to do with it.
Next question. Do you find that the complexity or the client and the work needed highly corresponds to the assets of the clients? Do you make allowances for clients with a very simple 3 million or a very complex 1 million? If not, how do you justify the time with work compliance wise for simple clients with large portfolios?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, no, I don't, nothing's perfect. No fee model is perfect, I think, as far as like the amount of compensation to the amount of work. I mean, I guess you could say hourly can be best fit that part. But from the simplicity perspective, it's just like, okay, I'm going to do the best I can from this. And so I will say for the most part it does, but I mean, but not completely. I mean, I have a client that they're paying a relatively low fee but they're kind of, I mean, they want to meet every month, right? So like we have a standing meeting every month. And so, I mean, that's as much of a me problem of not like bumping his fee up just because like, hey man, this is a lot. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't feel like I've necessarily cracked that code of of like, yes, this is the perfect way of doing it. Because I mean, I could have tried to make a more complex calculator. And I've seen much more complex calculators where it's like, depending if it's single or a couple, and if someone does have a small business, and if you have like, X, Y, and Z rental properties and stuff like that. But I kind of didn't want to, I wanted to make it as clear as possible to where you could just look at it and answer, up to 3 questions and then get your fee. And I'm actually even thinking about just taking out the whole question about do you have RSUs and options and just make it completely just the tiers on overall investments. Because especially if I hold myself out as I specialize in this stuff, then I'm kind of currently penalizing someone of like having that complexity. But yeah.
Next question. I am curious about the potential max size that a solo flat fee firm might be, and what those flat fees look like if they were translated to an equal hourly amount. In other words, a $9,000 flat fee is worth $450 an hour if the average $9,000 client takes 20 hours of work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not exactly sure how to answer the question. Just a couple of thoughts as far as like what's the cap? I mean, like, sure, there's definitely there can definitely be a cap as far as like how much revenue. There are some clients where like I'm somewhat leaving money on the table because like I'm managing 1.7 million or something and I'm charging them $9,000, right? So it's like they're a smoking deal, right? Yeah, or like if you expand that out more, like if someone has $3.5 million and I'm charging them, 15,000, I'm less than 0.5%, right? So like there is a level of leaving money on the table, but then on the other side of it, where it's just like I'm actually pretty expensive for some of the people, like people at the beginning were saying like I'm managing $100,000 and they're paying me $9,000 a year. Like that seems a little crazy, right? Um, but yeah, and kind of to the overall like what my as far as like the earning potential and all that stuff, like I mean, there's no one should be playing any violins for me or probably most of us, right? Where it's just like we're making a good living, we're doing stuff that's pretty awesome, right? To be able to have the conversations and do the stuff that we're doing, right? So I'm not too I don't know. I guess I haven't really let it, I don't know, bring me down or think about it too much, right? So,
It sounds like you're charging for financial planning, not based on investment management.
um, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just using so the way that I think about it as far as like why I'm using the measurements that I am like the kind of the total net worth and kind of thinking about the like with the niche that I'm in, right? Where it's like there because as part of like that total worth includes their equity compensation, right? So it's somewhat of a proxy of complexity, but it's also a proxy of value that I could provide, right? So it's like if someone has $1 million worth of stock options, right? Like I'm very confident that we can do planning that is going to more than pay for that, like what my fee is, right? And then kind of to the reason for doing flat fee and not like a AUM or anything like that, specifically for equity compensation stuff, is because then my compensation they don't have to worry that my harping on them to say you need to lower your concentration in your company is not trying to line my own pocket, right? Where like if I'm saying yes, you need to sell more, like I'm encouraging you to sell more, then they're not thinking in the back of their mind that it's like, oh, you're just saying that because you're going to you're going to get paid more for that, right? It's like, hey, I'm getting paid the same, right? So if you want to take on all this risk, then it's like, okay, I'll plan with you and help you out, right? But yeah. So I mean, kind of just as far as like why I'm still just using that as the proxy for it. So
Next question. Average income for your typical client.
I mean, probably average household income would be in the, we'll call it 300,000-400,000, like and mostly a combination of like that's their salary and then some amount of RSUs. But then of course like probably the lowest household income would be about 150, right? And then on the high end, whenever you include their equity, especially if they've worked at some of these companies that are blown up right now, where it's like they're grossing over $1 million.
I just, sorry, folks, as a marketing person, I'm sorry, but I just have to say this. I just don't know why, if you were looking to start a flat fee firm and you didn't have any clients and you wanted to know, people come to me all the time, how do I get new clients? And then it's like, I say this, but then I just don't even know why. And it's like a thing for me. It's like when my kids are like, I'm like, guys, like everybody pick the clothes up off the floor, and like they don't do it. And I'm like, mom, like the clothes, and then I'm like, mom says the clothes can't be on the floor. And then it's like I have to say like I'm sorry. I'm trying to be humble here and not prideful, but like I don't understand why when I say fine, this is my instruction to everybody that says to me, Sarah, how do I grow my firm? Ready? Find a firm near you that has highly compensated employees, a tech firm, Boeing, Stripe, he used Stripe. I don't know why. I just don't know why people don't do it. Because I think they get worried about, well, it has to be a niche. And so if I say I like Boeing and I work with Boeing people, then the 60-year-old retirees that work for like the Maryland teachers system are not going to want to do business with me. And it's like, you don't have to go out and beat the Stripe drum. Like you don't have to go out there as like Mike did. I favor going all in. Higher focus equals higher results. If you want to get there quicker, that's what you'll do. But I just don't know why somebody would look at Mike Zung, who's fully committed, who can like do somersaults with your RSUs, and he's like, because he's earned the respect. You see what I'm saying? He's earned the respect of this $300,000 person. Okay. It's like, if you want to, the highly compensated employees are near you, even if you live in a rural area, even if they're like Buffalo, New York, like the rural areas are all these, it's like there's nowhere where it's like 5-hour drive to get to a city. Okay. There are cities. No one lives in like the middle of like wasteland. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is I just don't know why people don't pick a corporation, find out what their benefits look like, and then go and talk to the $300,000 people because they exist, and just be determined about it. And I mean, I've seen this work over and over again. I just don't know why. I'm sorry. That was my violin playing.
Yeah. And with you saying that, the version that I'm currently exploring or kind of going in with is SpaceX, because like if I don't know how much people have kept track of it, but like their compensation or the tender offer prices have just been going up and to the right? And so like people have a somewhat silly amount of equity value right now. And it's kind of nice from the tender offer perspective because it's a set price. And like, because one thing that's kind of a pain in the butt with equity compensation is if you're working with a public company, then you do all this planning around this certain price and then it dips 5%. And it's like, oh God, now I gotta rerun a bunch of stuff. Right. So so yeah. So it's just, it's finding some of those kinds of opportunities.
There's a question in the chat from Jason. Jason, do you want to go ahead and speak out your question and we can all discuss it? Or did you want to just have me discuss it? Your call.
The question or the comment that I had?
The comment, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I felt like a lot of and I'm biased because I'm friends with Mike. I'm also in Kansas City. I felt like a lot of the questions were focused on asking him to justify how you can charge $9,000 for financial planning, even if it's $100,000 AUM client. I mean, what he's doing is different, it's financial planning focused. But I like that he's being transparent with his fees. It's easy for his clients to understand. So yeah, I think he's doing a good job.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, Jason, to your point, the exact comment was, I thought this group is just focused on transparent pricing, not necessarily low pricing. Listen, this is not a criticism of anybody in this group on this topic, but it is a misconception, I think, especially amongst people who aren't doing this yet, okay, that flat fee advisor is charitable. And it's not that we don't have a charitable mindset, okay, but it's like that this is charity work or this is nonprofit. Why don't you set it up as a nonprofit? How am I going to make any? I mean, Jason, correct point, right? I hear this over and over and over again from people who are like, I want to be a flat fee advisor, but I have a wife and kids. It's like, I mean, if you go to Manuka Financial is charging, and sorry, Manuka, if you're here or not here or whatever, I'm misquoting you, but that dude is charging like $25,000 a year. All right. This is no joke, flat fee advisor pricing here. Okay. So I mean, I see the point. I think the genesis of that question, Jason, is that kind of an idea. And I mean, keep in mind also, folks, that this is not just about transparent pricing. Transparency is about transparency in everything. You can see how clearly Mike communicates. You would also see this mindset, this transparent mindset of fully disclosing things to clients, having things be clear and simple, having the service delivery be clear and simple. Like Mike has built out mechanisms to make financial planning clearer to his clients. He's built these planning tools. Okay, that's the kind of transparent mindset that we're in. You could see it with Andy Panko as well, that Andy Panko, I mean, for people that don't even use his services, is clear, like professorially clear, to the extent that he has 60,000 people in his Facebook group right now. Okay, so it's about clear communication, clear service delivery, operating in the best interest of the client, and the clear pricing is a big component of that, but it's much more than that. And if it's just like, oh, okay, I'm going to slap $9,000 fee on my website and I'm going to be transparent, that's the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
Next question. Did you get your CFP experience hours before or after you launched your firm?
So it was kind of both, where I passed the CFP. I guess it was actually shortly after I had quit my full-time job. And then so some of my experience hours was through running my firm, but then there was also some of my prior work in like one of the companies that I worked for prior was an employee benefits company, and I was actually able to use some of the experience with stuff that I was doing there as part of it. So that did accelerate it a little bit as far as like being able to officially use the marks.
I want to print some t-shirts. Okay, let's take a vote. Should I print a t-shirt that said flat fee advisor is a personality? Flat fee is a mindset. I'll have them for everybody that goes to the immersion. By the way, everybody, I just put the immersion website into the chat. Here it is again. Boom. Please sign up for immersion if you haven't yet. Okay. If you're using my services, you get a discount. Don't buy it. If you're using my services, don't buy it without my discount code. I'll send it to you later. Send me a note though, or 917-873-9297. Clients. Okay, this is a tax question. Ready? Boom. Okay.
Hmm.
How many of your
Yeah.
clients are using your third-party tax prep services?
Oh, yeah. So I guess if someone's digging into my ADV, so that was put in there whenever XY tax was going, right? And so that was what that was. But as far as what I do now, I don't personally prepare taxes for people. But I do partner with, and it's another XY planner who has a tax service, and like basically I'll send people to their that tax service, and then with the client's permission, I get access to their client portal as well, so I can help upload documents and help fill out their client organizer and review draft returns and all that kind of stuff. So I don't prepare taxes. I don't get any compensation for preparing taxes, and people that use that other tax service, then they get billed directly by that other service.
I just want to make some quick intros here. This is not the end of the meeting yet, okay, everybody? You can leave if you want, of course, but I hope you don't, because I just wanted to introduce somebody. Rachel, are you here? Hey, Rachel's here. Okay, Rachel, could you just come on the video real quick?
Hi.